Ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, today I want to talk about something that could change the entire course of your life. I'm 63 years old, and life has been my greatest teacher. I've seen dreams rise and dreams fall. I've tasted victory, and I've faced setbacks that could have broken me, but they didn't. And if you're in your 30s, you are standing in one of the most powerful decades of your life. This is the time where the seeds you plant will decide the harvest you reap in the years to come. Remember this: your future is built by the choices you make today, not the wishes you have for tomorrow. And it's never too late to start, but the earlier you start, the greater the reward. I'm here to share with you lessons that took me decades to learn. Lessons that can save you from pain, push you towards success, and help you live a life you won't regret when you reach my age. When you are in your 30s, it's so easy to take your health for granted because your body still feels strong. Your energy seems endless, and you recover from late nights or bad habits much faster than you did in your teenage years. But this is exactly the danger. Youth has a way of fooling you into thinking your health will always be there, no matter how you treat it. At 63, I can tell you with certainty that every bite you take, every step you walk, every night of rest you get, and every habit you build in your 30s is either adding to your future strength or slowly taking it away. Health isn't something you can buy back once it's gone. You can earn back money, rebuild a career, or fix a broken relationship. But once your body starts breaking down, there is no amount of regret that can reverse the clock. Investing in your health means seeing your body as your greatest asset, because it is the only vessel you have to experience this life. Imagine owning the most valuable car in the world. You would never pour the wrong fuel into it. You would maintain it regularly, and you would drive it with care. Yet so many people pour junk into their bodies through processed food, neglect exercise, and run themselves to the ground through stress and lack of sleep. The truth is, you cannot separate your physical health from the quality of your life. Poor health will steal your joy, drain your finances, and limit your ability to do the things you love. Even if you have every other form of success, start by focusing on the basics. Things you might already know, but often neglect. Nourish your body with whole, unprocessed foods, not because it's a diet or trend, but because food is fuel. Every cell in your body is built from the nutrients you give it. Eat more vegetables, fruits, lean proteins, healthy fats, and whole grains. Drink more water and less sugar. Keep your portions in balance and avoid using food as an emotional escape. What you eat in your 30s is like laying the foundation of a house. It will determine how strong and stable you will be in your 50s, 60s, and beyond. Movement is another form of investment. Your body is designed to move, and when you don't, it begins to deteriorate. Exercise doesn't have to mean spending hours in the gym. It means finding ways to stay active every day. Strength training keeps your muscles strong and your bones dense, which is critical as you age. Cardiovascular activity keeps your heart and lungs healthy. Flexibility and mobility work prevent stiffness and pain. Make it a habit now so it becomes as natural as brushing your teeth. Think of exercise not as a punishment for what you ate, but as a gift to your future self. Sleep is one of the most undervalued investments in health. In your 30s, you might think staying up late to work, binge watch, or scroll your phone is harmless, but over time, chronic lack of sleep ages you faster, weakens your immune system, and disrupts your mental clarity. Sleep is when your body repairs itself, your brain processes information, and your energy reserves are restored. Treat it as sacred and guard it like your most important appointment of the day. Stress management is another area most people ignore until it's too late. Constant stress doesn't just affect your mood. It damages your body on a cellular level, contributing to inflammation, heart problems, and even certain diseases. Learn techniques that help you manage stress now, whether it's through prayer, meditation, deep breathing hobbies, or simply taking breaks from your fast-paced schedule. Your mind and body are deeply connected, and peace of mind often translates into better physical health. Regular check-ups and preventive care are not just for when you feel sick. They are part of investing in your health. Many illnesses, from high blood pressure to diabetes, can be silent in the early stages. By catching them early, you have the power to reverse or manage them before they become life-altering. Think of your doctor's visits as you would a car inspection. It's better to fix small issues now than face a major breakdown later. In your 30s, you also need to start thinking about habits that protect your body long term. That means protecting your joints by using proper posture and body mechanics, taking breaks if you sit for long hours, and avoiding the mindset of, I'll deal with it later. Later comes faster than you think, and the body you build now is the one you'll be living in decades from now. Consider how small daily habits, like stretching in the morning, taking the stairs, or walking instead of driving short distances, add up over years. Those little choices are compounding interest for your health. Finally, remember that health is not just the absence of disease. It's the presence of vitality, strength, and the ability to enjoy life fully. The best investment you can make is one that allows you to wake up every day feeling capable, energized, and ready to take on whatever life throws your way. Your future self is depending on the choices you make right now. And every act of self-care today is a gift you are giving to the person you will become. When you are in your 30s, you might still believe that you can keep everyone in your life happy, that you can maintain old friendships just because they've been around for years, or that you can tolerate people who constantly drain your energy without it taking a toll on you. The truth is, the people you surround yourself with shape your mindset, your habits, your confidence, and ultimately your future. At 63, I can tell you that some of the biggest mistakes I've seen people make are not about their careers, money, or skills. It's about who they chose to keep close and who they failed to walk away from. Relationships are not just social connections, they are investments of your time, emotional energy, and even your mental health. If you invest in the wrong ones, you'll spend years repairing the damage they cause. Choosing relationships that grow you means surrounding yourself with people who inspire you to be better, challenge you to think bigger, and encourage you to stay true to your values. These are people who are genuinely happy for your success, not secretly jealous of it. They support your dreams instead of belittling them. They listen to you when you speak and offer honest feedback instead of passive criticism. When you're in your 30s, you might underestimate how much influence the attitudes, habits, and beliefs of those around you will have on your own. But over time, you begin to mirror the people you spend the most time with. If they're disciplined, ambitious, and positive, you will naturally adopt more of those traits. If they're negative, lazy, or constantly complaining, their mindset will begin to seep into yours. One of the hardest lessons to learn is that not every relationship is meant to last forever. Just because someone has been in your life for a long time doesn't mean they should stay in it forever. People change, priorities shift, and sometimes you outgrow each other. Holding on to a relationship out of guilt, nostalgia, or fear of conflict can cost you years of growth. It's not about being cold or selfish. It's about protecting your energy and staying aligned with the life you're trying to build. Sometimes the bravest thing you can do is walk away from someone who is holding you back, even if you still care about them. Healthy relationships are not one-sided. They are a balance of giving and receiving, of support and accountability. If you find yourself constantly giving, always being the one to reach out, always being the one to compromise, and rarely receiving the same in return, that's a sign the relationship is draining you. On the other hand, when you are around people who genuinely care for you, you'll feel uplifted after spending time with them instead of exhausted. You'll feel more motivated to chase your goals, more secure in who you are, and more resilient when life gets tough. The right people will make your burdens feel lighter, not heavier. Your 30s are also the decade when many people settle down, whether that's marriage, long-term partnerships, or close-knit friendships. This is the time to be intentional about who you let into your inner circle. Choose a partner who shares your core values, supports your ambitions, and treats you with respect even when disagreements happen. Choose friends who celebrate your wins without resentment and stand by you during your losses without judgment. And remember, quality always outweighs quantity. It's better to have 3 deep, meaningful relationships than 30 shallow ones. Don't be afraid to set boundaries. Boundaries are not walls to keep people out. They are guidelines that protect your well-being. They teach others how to treat you and remind you of your own worth. In your 30s, you might feel pressure to be available to everyone all the time. Family, friends, co-workers. But learning to say no is one of the most powerful skills you can develop. Saying no to relationships that drain you is really saying yes to more time, energy, and focus for the relationships that truly matter also. Never stop learning from the people in your life. Every person you meet has the potential to teach you something. Whether it's a new skill, a new perspective, or a new way of approaching challenges, seek out mentors who have already walked the path you want to take. Surround yourself with people who know more than you in certain areas, because they will push you to grow. And when you find these relationships, nurture them. Show appreciation, offer value back, and don't take them for granted. Strong relationships require intentional effort, but the rewards are priceless. At the same time, you need to be the kind of person others want to grow with. Bring value into your relationships. Be the one who encourages, who listens deeply, who speaks life into others when they're struggling. Be reliable, trustworthy, and consistent. The best way to attract uplifting relationships is to become the kind of person who uplifts others. Energy attracts energy, and when you radiate positivity, discipline, and kindness, you naturally draw similar people toward you. In the end, your relationships will either be the wind at your back or the weight on your shoulders. The sooner you learn to choose people who push you toward your best self instead of pulling you toward your worst habits, the richer your life will become in every way, mentally, emotionally, and even spiritually. In your 30s, money can feel like it's constantly slipping through your fingers. You might be earning more than you ever have before, yet somehow it disappears just as fast. This is the stage of life when responsibilities often increase. Mortgages, rent, children, career investments, and lifestyle choices all start competing for your income. The danger is that without learning to master your money early, you can easily fall into a cycle where debt becomes your constant companion and financial freedom stays just out of reach. At 63, I've seen too many people who had the potential to retire comfortably end up working into their 70s because they didn't take control of their finances when they were younger. Debt, if unmanaged, quietly robs you of options, freedom, and peace of mind. Mastering your money doesn't mean you need to become obsessed with every dollar, but it does mean becoming intentional about where your money goes and why. The first step is understanding the difference between needs and wants. In your 30s, lifestyle inflation is one of the most dangerous traps. You start earning more, so you start spending more to award yourself, often without realizing that you're locking yourself into a higher cost of living that becomes difficult to maintain. The key is to increase your savings and investments at the same rate or faster than your expenses. Every raise, bonus, or extra income should be seen as an opportunity to strengthen your financial position, not just upgrade your possessions. One of the smartest habits you can build now is budgeting. Not as a restriction, but as a plan for your money. A budget is a reflection of your priorities. It shows you where your money is actually going versus where you want it to go. It helps you identify waste, cut unnecessary spending, and free up funds for what really matters. You might think you're too busy to track expenses, or that you have a general idea of where your money goes, but vague awareness is not the same as control. Without a plan, your money will always find ways to leave you. Debt management is critical in this stage of life. Some debt, like a reasonable mortgage or certain business loans, can be strategic. But high interest debt, especially credit cards and personal loans, should be treated like an emergency to pay off. Interest compounds against you in the same way investments can compound for you. And the longer you carry it, the harder it is to escape. If you're in debt now, prioritize paying it down before taking on new unnecessary expenses. It's not about living in deprivation. It's about buying back your freedom from financial stress. Investing early is another pillar of mastering your money. The biggest advantage you have in your 30s is time. And time is what makes compounding work in your favor. Even small amounts invested consistently in retirement accounts, index funds, or other long-term vehicles can grow into significant sums over the decades. The earlier you start, the less you need to invest later to reach the same goal. Too many people delay investing because they think they don't have enough to make it worthwhile, not realizing that delaying even 5 years can cost them hundreds of thousands in the future. Make it automatic. Set up contributions that happen without you thinking about it, so your future is constantly being funded. An often overlooked part of financial mastery is having an emergency fund. Life is unpredictable. Job loss, medical bills, car repairs, or unexpected travel can happen at any time. Without a financial cushion, you're forced to rely on credit cards or loans, which only dig you deeper into debt. Aim to have at least 3 to 6 months worth of expenses set aside. This isn't money to invest or spend. It's a shield that protects you from being financially vulnerable when life throws challenges your way. Another key principle is learning to live below your means. This doesn't mean denying yourself all pleasures. It means making conscious choices that prioritize long-term security over short-term gratification. Driving a car that's paid off, cooking at home more often, or delaying certain luxury purchases might not feel glamorous, but they can make the difference between living paycheck to paycheck and building real wealth. It's about aligning your spending with your values and goals, not with what others expect you. To have your relationship with money is also influenced by your mindset. If you see money only as something to spend, you'll never have enough. But if you view it as a tool for building freedom, creating opportunities, and supporting the life you want, you'll treat it with more respect. In your 30s, it's important to educate yourself. Read books on personal finance, follow credible sources, and learn from people who have successfully built wealth without sacrificing their integrity. Financial literacy is one of the most valuable skills you can acquire, and the earlier you develop it, the more powerful it becomes. Finally, remember that mastering your money is not about becoming rich overnight. It's about creating stability, options, and freedom over time. It's about reaching a point where your choices aren't dictated by fear of bills or lack of funds. It's about building a life where money works for you, instead of you constantly working for money. The habits you build in your 30s, whether saving consistently, avoiding unnecessary debt, or making smart investments, are the same habits that will carry you to financial peace in your 50s, 60s, and beyond. One of the most important lessons to learn in your 30s is the power of saying no. At this stage of life, opportunities seem abundant. You might be offered new projects at work, invitations to events, requests from friends and family, and countless distractions that seem exciting in the moment. But what many people don't realize is that every time you say yes to something, you are also saying no to something else. Your time, energy, and focus are limited resources, and if you give them away too freely, you'll end up living a life shaped by other people's priorities instead of your own. Saying no more often isn't about being selfish. It's about protecting your time so you can say yes to what truly matters. In your 30s, the pressure to please others can be strong. You might want to avoid disappointing a friend, upsetting a colleague, or missing out on an opportunity that might seem good on the surface. But not every good thing is the right thing for you. The reality is that some of the things you agree to out of obligation or fear of missing out will actually distract you from the path you should be on. Every commitment you make takes up mental and emotional space, and the more cluttered your life becomes, the harder it is to focus on what's most important. Learning to say no allows you to create the space you need to focus on your goals, relationships, and personal well-being. When you say yes to everything, you risk spreading yourself so thin that you can't give your best to anything. You might find yourself constantly busy, but not truly productive, constantly moving, but not making real progress. This is a dangerous trap because business can feel like accomplishment, but it often leads to burnout. Saying no is a way to protect your capacity to do your best work and live your best life. It's about quality over quantity, choosing fewer commitments, but giving them your full attention and energy. Boundaries play a huge role in this process. A boundary is not a wall to shut people out. It's a guideline that defines how you will allow others to interact with you and how you will manage your own time and energy. In your 30s, it's critical to establish these boundaries both personally and professionally. If you're constantly available to take on extra work, answer calls at all hours, or drop everything to meet someone else's needs, you send the message that your own priorities don't matter. But when you set clear boundaries, you teach others to respect your time and you reinforce your own commitment to what's important. Saying no also allows you to protect your mental and emotional health. Overcommitment leads to stress, anxiety, and exhaustion, which can slowly erode your happiness and even affect your physical well-being. The more you fill your life with obligations that don't align with your values or goals, the less room you have for joy, rest, and personal growth. By being selective about where you invest your energy, you give yourself the freedom to rest without guilt and the clarity to focus on what matters most to you. One of the challenges in learning to say no is overcoming the fear of how others will react. You might worry that people will think you're selfish, unkind, or lazy. But the truth is, People who respect you will also respect your boundaries. And those who don't respect your no are often the ones who benefited most from your inability to say it in the past. You can say no with kindness and still maintain healthy relationships. A clear, respectful, I can't commit to that right now, or that's not something I can take on, is far better than saying yes and then resenting the obligation later. Another benefit of saying no more often is that it helps you identify what you truly value. Every time you turn something down, you have to consider what you are making room for instead. This creates a habit of intentional decision making. Over time, you start to see patterns in what you prioritize, whether that's time with family, advancing in your career, improving your health, or pursuing a passion project. This self-awareness becomes a powerful tool for creating a life that reflects your deepest values instead of one that's pulled in every direction by external demands. In your 30s, you're also building habits that will carry into the rest of your life. If you develop the skill of saying no, now you'll be far better equipped to protect your time and energy in your 40s, 50s, and beyond. This means you'll be less likely to end up burned out, overextended, or living a life you didn't consciously choose. It also means you'll have more capacity to say yes to the right opportunities, the ones that truly align with your goals and bring fulfillment instead of stress. Saying no is ultimately an act of self-respect. It acknowledges that your time is valuable, your energy is finite, and your priorities matter. It gives you control over your schedule, your commitments, and your future. And the more you practice it, the easier it becomes to recognize when something is worth your yes, and when it's better to politely decline. In your 30s, it's easy to feel like you've already built the foundation of who you are, both personally and professionally. You may have a stable job, some skills you rely on, and a routine that feels comfortable. But the moment you believe you've learned enough is the moment you stop growing. The world around you will continue to change whether you choose to adapt or not. Industries shift, technology evolves, and life presents challenges you've never faced before. If you don't make learning a lifelong habit, you risk becoming outdated, not just in your work, but in your thinking and the way you approach life. At 63, I've seen people with great potential limit themselves because they refused to grow beyond what they already knew. And I've seen others flourish simply because they kept learning long after everyone else stopped. Continuous learning is more than just formal education. It's an intentional way of living that keeps your mind open, curious, and adaptable. It means seeking knowledge from books, courses, experiences, mentors, mistakes, and even failures. In your 30s, you're in a powerful position. You've lived long enough to know what you're passionate about, yet you still have decades ahead to master new skills and broaden your perspective. This is the ideal time to plant seeds of growth that will bear fruit for the rest of your life. The key to lifelong learning starts with humility. You must be willing to admit There are things you don't know and skills you haven't yet mastered. Too many people let pride hold them back from asking questions or exploring unfamiliar territory because they don't want to look inexperienced. But the most successful people are often those who embrace the role of a student in every season of life. They understand that knowledge isn't a destination, it's a constant journey. In your 30s, responsibilities tend to pile up. Career progression, family commitments, financial obligations, and this can lead you to believe you're too busy to focus on learning. But in reality, learning is what equips you to handle those responsibilities more effectively. Developing new skills can open doors to better opportunities, improve your problem-solving abilities, and even strengthen your relationships. Learning how to manage stress, communicate effectively, or adapt to change can make the difference between simply surviving and truly thriving. Surrounding yourself with the right people can accelerate your learning dramatically. Seek out mentors who've achieved the kind of life you want, whether in business, health, or personal growth. Learn from their mistakes, absorb their wisdom, and apply their advice. Also, be open to learning from peers and younger generations. Innovation often comes from fresh perspectives, and you can gain valuable insights from people whose experiences are different from yours. The more diverse the voices you listen to, the broader your understanding becomes. Technology has made it easier than ever to learn continuously. You no longer need to enroll in a university or attend in-person seminars to gain new skills. Podcasts, online courses, webinars, and ebooks are all at your fingertips. In your 30s, dedicating even a small amount of time each week to intentional learning can compound into a massive advantage over the years. Whether it's improving your financial literacy, learning a new language, or staying updated on changes in your industry, these small steps can have a big impact. The most powerful learning happens when you apply what you've gained. Passive consumption, reading, watching, or listening can inspire you, but without action, it fades quickly. When you learn a new skill, practice it. When you read about a strategy, test it. Applying knowledge turns it into wisdom, and wisdom is what transforms your life. The more you practice integrating what you learn, the more confident and capable you become. Another reason to embrace continuous learning is its impact on mental agility. Just like your body needs exercise to stay strong, your mind needs challenges to stay sharp. Learning keeps your brain flexible, improves memory, and boosts your ability to adapt to new situations. It also fuels creativity, because the more knowledge you accumulate, the more connections you can make between different ideas. Many breakthroughs and innovations happen when you combine concepts from unrelated areas into something new and valuable. Continuous learning isn't only about professional growth. It's deeply connected to personal fulfillment. Exploring new topics, cultures, and experiences can reignite your sense of wonder. It prevents life from becoming stagnant and predictable. Learning a musical instrument, diving into history, taking up photography, or even exploring a sport you've never tried before can bring joy, challenge, and a renewed sense of purpose. In your 30s, you have the energy and time to explore, but also the maturity to appreciate the deeper lessons those experiences bring. Your 30s are also the decade when you can set the tone for how the rest of your life will unfold. If you commit to being a lifelong learner now, you'll enter your 40s, 50s, and beyond with the ability to adapt to change, seize opportunities, and stay relevant no matter what shifts happen in the world. You'll be better equipped to teach and guide others, and you'll have a richer, more well-rounded perspective on life. The growth you pursue today becomes the wisdom you carry tomorrow, and the earlier you start, the more rewarding the journey becomes. Time is the one resource you can never earn back once it's gone, and yet it's the one most people spend carelessly. In your 30s, it's easy to feel like you have endless years ahead. So you say yes to every commitment, waste hours on distractions, or postpone your dreams for someday. But the truth is, the clock is always ticking, and the habits you form now will determine how much of your time in the future is spent on things that truly matter. At 63, I can tell you that every hour you waste now is one you'll wish you had back later. The older you get, the more you realize that time is not just something you use to get things done. It's your life itself. Being spent moment by moment, spending time with intention means being conscious about where each hour goes and making deliberate choices about what you give your attention to. It's about understanding that not everything is worth your time simply because it's available. In your 30s, you're at a stage where demands on your time will only increase. Career growth, relationships, family responsibilities, and personal goals all competing for the same 24 hours in your day. If you don't take control of your schedule, other people's priorities will fill it for you, and you'll end up looking back wondering where the years went. One of the biggest time thieves in this era is distraction. Technology has made it easier than ever to lose hours without even noticing. Scrolling endlessly on your phone, binging shows, or reacting to constant notifications. These small habits seem harmless, but over weeks, months, and years, they add up to massive amounts of lost potential. In your 30s, it's critical to start managing these distractions intentionally. That doesn't mean eliminating fun or rest. It means making sure those things are conscious choices rather than unconscious defaults. Another way to protect your time is to set priorities clearly. Without clear priorities, everything feels urgent and important, and you end up pulled in every direction. Start by identifying your core values and long-term goals. Ask yourself what you want to look back on in 10 or 20 years and be proud of. Then, align your daily actions with those priorities. This often means saying no to things that don't move you closer to your vision, even if they seem appealing in the moment. Your time is limited, and every yes you give to something unimportant is a no to something that matters deeply to you. It's also important to recognize the difference between being busy and being productive. Many people fill their days with endless tasks, but make little progress toward their real goals. Productivity isn't about how much you do. It's about how much of what you do actually matters. Learn to focus on high-value activities that create long-term benefits rather than just immediate satisfaction. In your 30s, this might mean spending more time building your skills than answering every email instantly, or investing hours into your health and relationships instead of chasing short-term wins that don't last. Time well spent often involves people. The relationships you choose to nurture will define much of your happiness and fulfillment later in life. Make time for the people who matter most, even if your schedule feels full. Memories with loved ones are priceless, and they cannot be recreated once the moment is gone. At the same time, be cautious of relationships that consume your time without adding value to your life. Just as with money, where you invest your time determines the return you get from it. Rest and recovery are also an essential part of spending time intentionally. Many people in their 30s push themselves constantly, thinking they'll slow down later, but burnout can steal years from your life. Rest isn't wasted time. It's what allows you to show up with energy, creativity, and focus. Making space for hobbies, relaxation, and mental breaks keeps you from living in a constant state of exhaustion. The key is to rest with purpose, choosing activities that actually refresh you instead of mindless ones that just fill the hours. Being intentional with your time also means breaking free from procrastination. Procrastination is often disguised as waiting for the right time, but there's rarely a perfect moment to start something meaningful. The longer you delay, the more opportunities slip away. If something truly matters to you, start now, even if it's imperfect. Small, consistent steps taken today are worth far more than big plans you keep putting off for tomorrow. Time rewards action and punishes hesitation. Finally, one of the most powerful shifts you can make in your 30s is to measure life, not just in years, but in moments. The experiences you create, the people you love, and the progress you make toward your purpose are the real markers of a well-spent life. When you start thinking of time as your most valuable currency, you naturally become more selective about how you spend it. You realize that every day is both an opportunity and an investment, and the way you use it will either bring you closer to the life you want or further away from it.